All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation, much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed, edify the elect. We're here once again with another weekly edification, letting you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans know you are the children of Israel according to the scriptures, all right, and according to prophecy. In fact, let's go ahead and open up with a quick precept in 1 second. Open up with this real quick. We could have read that too, but I want to just go ahead and get to this here point. This is Romans chapter 8, verse 16. All right. It says the Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. All right. And what does that go into? All right. You know, we're gonna touch on this into this lesson, Lord's will. All right, because you know there's some debate about how do you know that you're the children of Israel. All right, how do you know that these are the Edomites, right? You know, and we'll touch a little bit more on the Edomites because, you know, you have some people that can break down or so-called, you know, just go through the scriptures and find out the lineage of people and find out, okay, well, Abraham and them came up out of basically, you know, Babylon or, you know, Babel, you know, the Ur the Chaldees type scenario. All right, and then they wound up going and living in basically what you would call Africa today, all right, in the land of Ham. All right, but then, and also, you know, you had the children of Israel that was pretty much born over there as well. All right, 70 souls went into Egypt, all right, and came out as a small nation. And then they, you know, you follow the seed lines of their children. Sometimes they was, you know, having children with these women that was around the spot. So people will get an understanding of, you know, matter of fact, let me grab that as well, too. Let me see if I can find this. It should be right here. 1 second. Let me find this 1 second. Give me a second to find a precept real quick. Oh, should be. Let me see. Should be right here. Might have to look this up. Let me see if I can find it though. Should have been right here though. In fact, I'll just look it up. I feel like I'm looking dead at it, but I'll just look it up. Yeah, let me look this here up real fast. We don't waste too much time and lose the point here. Alright. I could have sworn I was just looking at it right there, but maybe it was the wrong verse. Oh, we're in the wrong chapter. Salakia. This is Numbers 1 and 18. This is, yeah. It says, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upwards by the polls. All right, and again, going into, you know, I was speaking about, you know, people in the controversy about who is who and where is where. All right, and they're talking about mixed breed children, right? You know, oh well, Jacob had or Jacob's sons, all right, chose women from different nations and things like that, or held. In fact, Well, you couldn't have had, so think of it this way, right? Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, his sons would be Israelites, but none of their mothers were Israelites. Put it that way, you know what I'm so to say, because hey, they had to come from up out of them. You see what I'm saying? So people would have this understanding, but they don't understand that the your seed line, all right, comes from the Father. And not only that, it's like the Most High created. There's another precept. Let me find that in Deuteronomy. See if how's it worded in Deuteronomy. I can't. Let me see. Deuteronomy 32, and I want to say like verse 3 or 4. Nope, verse 8. All right, Deuteronomy 32 and verse 8. It says, "When the Most High." Let me see. Let me start at verse 4. It's verse 7. Verse 7. We'll start at 7. Deuteronomy 32 and 7 says, "Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy fathers, and he will show thee, and the elders, and they will tell thee. When the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, all right, he set bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel." So the Most High, from these people, right, you know, because he's like, oh, well, all people come from Adam, right? And Lord's we'll get this other precept that just came to mind as well, too. But the Most High separated these people, man. All right, so like, let's just say, for instance, you have Noah, right? You could say, you know, that's the beginning of the world that we know of today, right? You know, because Adam on down to Noah, all them, they all got erased, right? But then you start back with Noah. Noah had 3 sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, right? So you could say, you know, you have the Hamites, the Shemites, and the, Japhites, you know, so to say. Well, Noah was the father, you know what I'm saying, of 3 different nations, which would be the fathers of multiple other nations. So it's not like necessarily how you would think of today. Oh, so-and-so got together and these are their children, they're mixed and this, and that. Hey, you just follow the lines of the father. But then also under that seed line, right, because you got Noah, right? And out of Noah, all his sons would basically, let's just say for lack of a better term, Ham, Shem, and Japheth would all be what you would consider quote-unquote Noahites, right? They would all be seeds of that. But the Most High separated those 3 to be 3 different nations, right? The same with Shem, all right? And then the same with, you can go with Abraham. Abraham had, out of him, you know, Ishmael was the firstborn, all right? Then you had Jacob, all right? Jacob had 2 nations out of him, right? So it was the same mother, the same father, but they wound up having Jacob and Esau, 2 separate nations, man. So the Most High is the one that called and separate these different nations. So this is where you start to get your separation of lineages from based off the Most High. All right, so all this talk about, oh, he had a child with this here woman, so they're a mixed breed of this, and that. Look, man, you're gonna confuse yourself trying to go down these here paths and everything else like that when you're looking at the woman's bloodline, more or less to say, man, they are who their father is, man. All right, so hey, this talk about, you know, mixing and everything else like that. Oh, how can Esau, right? How can the Edomites be the so-called white people today? All right, let me see if I can find that as well too. Genesis, I want to say 35. Let me look it up. Genesis, maybe it's 36. Let's see. Yeah, Genesis 36. Genesis 36 and 1, it says, "Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom," right? So Esau, which you know, we found through the scriptures, through the spirit, are the so-called white people today. But then the controversy comes in when they start bringing in these women and everything else like that. And, oh, well, they couldn't be these folks because they look like this and they look like that and everything else. So let's just go back to the very beginning, right? All people on the face of the earth, right, was so-called black people, right? You know, they had so-called brown skin, put it that way, right? And you know, when we say so-called black people, we say that as a race instead of a so-called tone of a color, right? But because you get into this semantics with these things. But anyway, in the very beginning, everybody had so-called brown skin. Now, you still had the multiple different nations and everything else like that, but everybody had so-called brown skin. Then Esau came out, red all over like a hairy garment, right? Well, he came out with missing his skin pigmentation, or how they would say melanin, right? Wasted away his seed. That's why his name was called Esau. That's what Esau means, is wasted away his seed, right? Then he asked for that same red, what do you call it? Basically the same red porridge or pottage, right, that he was eating, right? And then his name was changed to Edom, which means red. But nevertheless, when you go into these things, he was like the first person that had a different, how do I say, a different skin pigmentation, right? Now you have also, and we could just briefly touch on this, and let me see, all right, let me see where we want to start at. Let me just start up a little bit and we'll read on down. This is Genesis chapter 4, verse... let me start at verse 8 to give you a little bit more of the backdrop, because when we go further on down, see, the Spirit beareth witness with our spirits. These spirits, they keep coming back to back to back to back to back. So if the Spirit beareth witness with our spirit, then we are children of the Most High, which means what? We come under the same Spirit, man. We keep doing the same things over and over and over and over and over again, man. All right, it's just like a so-called, let's think of it this way in the carnal sense, right? You know, so let's forget about the different nations of the Bible and everything else like that. Let's just go off of what you see and what you know today, right? You see so-called black people today in the music industry and stuff like that, or you just put on some good music around so-called black people today. What do they start doing? They start jamming and dancing. Now, what black person do you know? Now we're not talking about dance competition and stuff like that, but what black person do you know is born and at some point in time they actually teach them how to dance? You can go and watch on YouTube and see little bitty babies listening to some music. I remember seeing one where they had they was playing some Beyonce or some shit. They had a child with a pacifier and a pamper on, you know what I'm saying, to show you how the age of this child over there so-called dancing, getting to it, right? It had a little bit of spirit inside of them. So, saying all that to say this, in 2023, you put some good music on around so-called black people, they start jamming and dancing, right? You go back to 1950, and you look at what was going on back in those days, you put some good music on around Jake, they was known for, oh, they got the swag, the dance. What the hell? They got the, back in those days, they also had the swag and the dance and everything else like that. So, for instance, which is funny, this could be the same person coming back, but they was alive at the same time. I do believe, I'm more than sure that they was alive at the same time. But James Brown, man. You go watch some old James Brown. James Brown be getting down, dancing, singing and dancing, doing all that movement and shit while he was over there on stage dancing and stuff like that. Now, fast forward in the time, you got another entertainer doing the same thing, Chris Brown. You know, it's funny, they got the same names. It was quote-unquote abusive to their women. All right, it was crazy, just living it up, right? But saying all that to say this, back in the days in the 50s, the 40s, the 30s, the 20s, you know what I'm saying? Even back in slavery times, man. Where do you think you get slave hymns from? All the music that you get today come all from Jake. All right, it's all from the things that they have going on. So this is in our spirit to create stuff like this, man. Back on the slave plantations, we was out there doing our work, making a little song, whatever, right? Shit, when you was in high school, or whatever grade you was in class, you had Jake that was beating on the table, making little freestyles and stuff like that, man. When you go and you look in the prison systems right about now, man. Oh, well, let's go back. When you had the old chain gangs in the prison systems, just like on the slave plantations, they out there, wade in the water. They was doing that on the slave plantations. Then you fast forward to the chain gangs, they out there beating on the railroad tracks and doing the same in oppression, singing hymns through the midst of it all, right? Bringing it to modern day prisons today, man. You want to hear some real good rap and hip hop, right? You know, even though it's wicked, the shit that they talking about. You want to hear some real, like, actually talented, good rap and hip hop. Go on YouTube and type in prison rap, and go look at them Jakes that's locked up in prison, man, pouring their soul through the music and stuff like that. Now, throughout all time and generations, when you oppress Jake, this is what they come up with, is music and stuff like that, man. When they going through hard times, man, you get some of the best R&B music from, you know, if you old enough to remember when they had R&B out, you know, Mary J. Blige, Usher, and all that stuff. You got the best of the damn best music when they was going through hard times, man. When Mary J. Blige was getting her heart broken, going through some shit, when Usher was going through some shit, you know what I'm saying? You got the best music coming up out of their pain and their suffering, man. All right, you don't have, now these other nations, what do? They go and they'll steal what we had going on, and then they'll just so-called recreate it, man. All right, so you got like country music and all this stuff come from Jake, man. All right, but nevertheless, saying all that to say this is the spirit of our people, man. Always creating and inventing what? New dance moves, new music and songs and all these different trends. The scriptures say Jacob is the salt of the earth, man. All right, we give the earth flavor, man. We season things. You may have had the little 1-2 step. You know how Jake be like, you know, something just as simple as bobbing the head, and Jake get a little head bob and the shoulder bob, you know what I'm saying? And they do a little twist to it. You know, like Esau just still over there bobbing his head like that. Jake then, hey, got a little swag to it, you know what I'm saying? This is showing forth the spirit of Jake, going all the way back, no matter what time frame, what time period, he's still doing the same thing. Same with all these other nations, man. So if Jake's spirit is going to keep coming back doing the same thing, these other nations are going to want to keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, man. All right, so now when you go into Esau, all right, they speak about him. Lord, we'll get all of that. But, you know, they talk about him being a mighty hunter and everything else like that. That's what he was doing back in the olden days. And who do you see on the hunting channels and everything else today, man? Doing the same thing, being a mighty hunter, man. Have duck calls, duck piss, all kind of ghillie suits and everything else like that, man. Fish finders and all kind of shit, man, that Esau got, man, to make him proficient at hunting, man. All right, not just animals, but also people, man. All right. What the hell they got going on over here? But anyway, going back into, to making a point of the Spirit bears witness with our spirit that we are children of the Most High. Hey, we have the same spirit in us from way back when, all the way up until now. We still do the same things over and over. Hey, we was a rebellious people back in the olden days. We still are rebellious people to this day, man, when it comes to the Most High, man. Any of these other people, look at these Amalekites, man. All right, granted, them niggas is wicked and going off, but they done been lied to about some shit, but they keep that shit to a T, man. All right, you know what I'm saying? For the most part, you go over there in Israel, you got them Amalekites that be, they keep the laws, statutes, commandments to, I ain't gonna say they can keep them all, but nevertheless, the shit that they prescribe for them to keep, they keep them things, man. All right, them Ishmaelites, man. Ishmael go in and, the laws they got in the Quran and stuff like that, which is a spinoff of the scriptures, because, again, Abraham is the father of Ishmael, right? So he would have told him about the law, statutes, commandments, but they keep that shit to a T to this day, man. Like the scriptures say, hey, if I would have came to these other nations, they would have gladly done these things, man. They would have bent over backwards for these things. But let me just read that real quick. But Jake on the other end, all right, Jake on the other end is rebellious. They're how do you say, a hard-headed people, man. This is Ezekiel. Let me see, Ezekiel 3, I think it is, maybe 2. Let's find it real quick. Ezekiel. Maybe it's Ezekiel 3. All right, so here it is. Ezekiel 3 and, man, I guess I might just start from the top. Let me start over here in Ezekiel 2 as a matter of fact, and just read on down. Ezekiel, come on, man. This wind is blowing. Ezekiel 2 and verse, let me start at 7. All right, I'm going to read kind of fast. Ezekiel 2 and 7, it says, also thou speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious. See? And the Most High said, hey, speak unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious, man. Hey, I even see this amongst these Edomites, man. When it comes to them following Christianity and stuff like that, again, they're not following it to a T, right? They're not following it the correct way. But with the parameters that's put on to them, these motherfuckers be keeping that shit like that, man. But Jake will be over here, trying to hide some shit, you know what I'm saying? Trying not to do the right things and be cutting corners and everything else like that. But hey, you see these so-called Christians, right? These Edomite Christians, they going on their little missionaries, they spread their wickedness, they go in and do their little prayers and everything else like that, man. All right, these Catholics. So the things that they've been given, they follow that shit, man, for the most part, man. All right, now you do have the ones that are so-called be cloaked into these things, but they just following wickedness. And even with that, man, all right, when these Edomites are in their perfect form and serving their God to the fullness of the best of their ability, and they do that shit to the fullest extent as well too, man. All right, they go and they do their sacrifices and their high, what we'll call it high evil days that they have, and all these different things that they have going. Hey, they Bohemian Grove and all that stuff, and they all that in high regards, man. All right, but what about Jake, man? You tell Jake to do something. Oh yeah, we'll do it when we. Hey, go to Jake's house. Every Jake got a damn Bible in their house, but how many Jakes is actually reading that, man? You see what I'm saying? So the scripture continues on to say, Ezekiel 2 and 7, and thou shalt speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious. But thou, son of man, hear what I say unto thee. Be not rebellious like that rebellious house, and open thy mouth and eat what I give thee. And when I looked, and behold, a hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein. And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without, and there was written lamentations, mourning, and woe, which is the scripture. So chapter 3 says, Moreover he said unto me, son of man, eat that thou findest, eat this roll, and go speak unto the house of Israel. So again, go and speak this unto the house of Israel. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said unto me, son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. To give you that cure, man. All right. And he said unto me, son of man, go get thee to the house of Israel. So here we go. And speak with my words unto them, for thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech or of hard language, but to the house of Israel. Meaning, it's not necessarily saying that it was in a different language they couldn't understand, right? Because you could have so-called Negroes, right, that don't speak Spanish or nothing like that, and see some so-called Hispanics, right? And let's say they're both riding together down the street, right, in a car. Neither one of them speak the same language. The police get behind them. How you think that they're gonna feel? They're gonna both feel the same way. You can have a so-called Negro, so-called Latino, and a so-called white man in the car. Police get behind them. The only person that's gonna be cool, calm, collected is the damn Edomite, man. All right, Jake is gonna be feeling some type of way. They understand what the hell going on, even if they can't even speak the same language, man. Even if they don't understand what's really going on in these things, man. So they understand what's really popping. It's funny. Matter of fact, I could probably play this here video real quick. Somebody sent me this a little earlier, which was kind of funny and ironic that they would say these things in there. Let's see if I can pull this here up. Where was that at? This is let me see. I don't know what the name of this here show is, but see if we can pull this here up.
In his place.
So here we go.
Make sure that Houston, the city of Houston, is put under the same microscope as any city that isn't allowed legally to be the quote-unquote sanctuary city. And this is what we do here in the city of Houston. People come into the city of Houston illegally. They're allowed to stay. There is only so much that our law enforcement officers are willing to do, that the DEA is willing to do, that the border agents are willing to do. Why in the world don't we go after those that are here? Well, that's what Abbott wants to change, and I agree. And as soon as we make sure that in the state of Texas, if Houston keeps conducting itself the same way that San Antonio and other cities conduct themselves, then no money is coming to Houston from the state. We need to do that on the state level.
Now, as a background, you have this Edomite that's talking, and you're about to have Jake speak.
Why are we so worried about getting rid of all of the Mexicans or Hispanics that are quote-unquote here, if they're illegal or not? At the end of the day, many of them are paying taxes. Many of them have been here for generations and decades. And Matt, trying to get rid of 4, 5, or 3 million people all at once is not going to work. We don't have the resources.
We don't have to do it all at once.
And secondly, Matt, listen, there is no such thing as an illegal Mexican immigrant coming into Texas, because they're only coming home. Texas, Arizona, and California was stole from the Mexicans.
Don't start
this
that
all
nonsense.
belongs to them. So they're only coming home. And then here it is, you white folks stole the land from the Indians, but yet you're the natural, real illegal immigrants.
So let's start with the things you said that are already wrong. First of all, they're coming here, they're not paying any taxes.
So we'll close that out. So it's funny, we were going into how they not to a hard language, or a strange speech. So going into this, again, you have an Edomite and a Judite. I don't know which tribe you're from, but let's just say an Israelite, of a darker, like he's from the Southern Kingdom, right? They speaking back and forth on here. Now, the Edomite is all mad and upset about these things and Border Patrol and everything else. But then you had, I'm going to just say he's Judah, right? Just for lack of a better term, right? Judah over here speaking to this Edomite about the Southern Kingdom, or the Northern Kingdom, Issachar in particular, man. Like, how you over here tripping about these things and calling them illegal aliens when they just coming back to their land that y'all stole from them? You complaining about you stealing some land from them, but y'all the damn thieves around this here place, man. And not only that, and see, this is Judah that's speaking. It's like, look, you complaining about them calling them so-called illegal immigrants when you stole the land from them. Then you stole the Southern Kingdom from their own homelands and brought them over here, man. So they have, how they say, they both have something in common, man. They have common enemies, man. This one person wronged both of these people. They understand what it's like, man. So Judah don't have to sit there and try to be like, I don't understand what the hell you mean by stealing the land and wronging these folks and everything. Now, if you're in your right mind and your right spirit, because you do have some coon-ass niggas that be acting certain types of way on the Northern and the Southern Kingdom type style, man. Because you will have some Northern Kingdom Jakes that'll sit there and be trying to be buddy-buddy with the Edomites and be looking at the Southern Kingdom Jakes as if, like, these niggas is the problem. When in reality, you know what I'm saying, Esau's the problem, man. But this was a prime example in this here video of how you have, not of a strange speech. The Southern Kingdom understood exactly what the hell kind of enemy they was dealing with these Edomites. Like, hold on, bro, how you going? And then defending them, man. Because that's their brothers. They're not worried about, see, Judah wasn't saying, well, what about y'all colonizing this place or that place, Africa, Europe, Asia, and all these. No, he was talking about them colonizing their brethren, man. Nah, man, you came down on my brother and everything else, like they're calling them illegal immigrants. Then you want to talk about not paying taxes. He was saying in there they pay taxes. They may not pay so-called income taxes like that, and in reality, if they get in a goddamn paycheck, they pay income tax. But more importantly than that, every time you go to the store, they are spending paying taxes every time they go to a goddamn store, man. Now, with Esau, oh, they ain't paying taxes. The majority of these damn Edomites has got a little bit of something. They don't pay taxes, man. They know these loopholes on how to get out of these things. Donald Trump showed you about that. Jeff Bezos showed you about that. Elon Musk showed you about that. They're not paying taxes. So, and these is huge money-making taxes. So just think about it this way, man. If taxes are supposed to go pay for governmental funded programs and things like that, Jeff Bezos and them making $1 billion, more than $1 billion a year, or something like that, and they pay less money than somebody making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a year in taxes. How the dude that's making $20,000, $30,000 a year paying more in taxes than Jeff Bezos, man? And then you got the nerve and the gall to sit there and call them out for not paying taxes, when in reality they are the ones paying taxes, and these Edomites ain't paying taxes. See, this is why we call you the damn devil. The Northern and the Southern Kingdom both, hey, it's not a strange language. Y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about when we talk about this nigga's the damn devil, man. You don't have to sit there and try to convince him, like, hey, I can walk up to some Northern Kingdom jakes right about now that don't speak no English, like, mira el diablo. El gringo es el diablo. Oh, sí, oh, sí, oh, sí. They already know what the fuck we talking about, man. Now, if you go over and try to talk to an Edomite about those things, you know, like in that video, hey, man, the white folks came and stole the land. Oh, why you got to go back to all of that and the history and everything else? Why you got to go back that far? Well, how far back are you going when you talk about things like the World War II scenario with your boy over there in Germany, what he did to the Amalekites, man? Why y'all want to go back to those things, man? All right, you know, you want to go back in history, don't you? You know, y'all celebrate 4th of July every year, don't you? You know, 4th of July, what was that, 1776, right? At that same point in time, you still celebrate this holiday from that same day, right? You also celebrate George Washington's birthday and shit like that. Now, this nigga was in the very beginning of the time, right? Or in America, as you know, as far as you have the United States of America goes, right? He was at the very beginning of those things. But, well, July 4th, matter of fact, which it was actually May 1st, right? But July 4th, 1776, and like I said, you can go back, I think it was 2 years before that when they actually wrote this, but they put it in the law at that point in time. But nevertheless, you know, 1776, they was talking about that's when the creation of America so-called happened, right? And they celebrate that to the same day, in July 4th, right? But wait a minute, the so-called Emancipation Proclamation didn't happen until, what, 55, 56, somewhere around that time? Almost 100 years later, right? So, well, you got to forget about slavery. You got to forget about slavery and then, but celebrate 4th of July every damn year, man. You see how this is the hypocrisy of these damn Edomites. So again, you're not sent to a strange, people of a strange speech. They already know, man. You can go and you preach this here word to Jake, man, and they understand, like, yeah, man, we are being oppressed by this damn devil. This devil, yeah, he done came and took over. Hey, because I can go over to Mexico and tell them and start, like Stephen did, like, hey, look, let me show you the history of what's going on in your forefathers, man. Tell those down in Mexico about it, and then go over to Puerto Rico, tell them about it. Go over to, Guatemala, tell them about it. Ecuador, tell them. They all have the same scenarios that's going on. Argentina, Colombia. Hey, they all got the same story, man. All right, Esau came and took over all their shit, man. All right, and got them up under his foot. So it's not to a strange speech or a strange language. They would understand these things, man. So again, hey, explaining these things to our people, they should understand these things, man. All right, but let's get back into knowing about who these people are, man. All right, because like I said, man, people will go off of, you know, their so-called emotions and things like that. But hey, when you have to look through the spirit of these things, man. This is why we know about these things that the Lord told us through what? The spirit of people, man. Because he could easily have say, okay, so the so-called Negroes are the tribe of Judah. Now think about how easy it would be for them to change. In fact, that's what, you know, there was no letter J. They already done this. Like, think about how easy it would be to just change the names of some shit up. And you know what I'm saying? And like, oh, well, the so-called white man is the tribe of Judah. If that was just written in the scriptures, the so-called black man is the tribe of Judah, it would be easy for them to take out black man and so-called and insert so-called white man, and then, oh, it clearly says that, right? But no, the Most High gave you a description of the spirit of the people that will be going on, and you can go around and you can look at them and what they will be doing into these days, man. All right, the scriptures speak about well, that didn't happen at no point in time until now. Let me see if I can find that, so I don't butcher the scripture up. It's in the book of Jeremiah. I want to say chapter 50 or 51. Let me see. Like verse 30 something. So maybe it's 50. Yep, 50 and 33. Jeremiah 50 and 33, it says, "Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah," so the northern and the southern kingdom, "were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast and refused to let them go, right? So now this only happened twice in the history of the whole planet Earth, because you have to understand through the history, the northern and the southern kingdom will be split, and then the northern kingdom will go into captivity under the Assyrians, and then later they will come over to the Americas, right? And then the southern kingdom, you read about them and their captivities throughout the rest of the Bible. Through Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and then in Rome, right? Where was the two times they were suppressed together, right? And it's through the spirit, like the scripture said, in that city that was spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, right? So going back to this city that was spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, it's not the actual Sodom and Egypt, but the first Egypt, right? The 70 souls went in Egypt, and then the children of Israel, that's when they as a nation was born. So that was the first time they was oppressed together, all right, as both kingdoms, the northern and the southern kingdom, right? But then you also have here in the Americas, man, at this here point in time, all right, because the land, again, I just gave you what happened with the northern kingdom, but they came over to the Americas, but then Esau came over here and took them captives first, all right, from 1492 to 1611, all right, is when they had the northern kingdom in bondage over here. Then 1619. Salakia. The 1619, then you started having the slave ships with Judah, or the southern kingdom came over here, man. So now, even into the same day, we're still being oppressed together, all right? Now, when you look at these other nations, who do you think that fits those things, man? All right, who else is being oppressed, so-called, together at one place and point in time, man? There's nobody else that fits that description. So, like I always say, here in America, you have basically 2.5 people, man. You have the Edomites, all right, and then you have the Israelites, right? There's 2 people, but then in the Israelites, you have the northern and the southern kingdom that's over here in captivity, man. All right, when you look amongst a lot of those northern kingdom, countries, more or less to say, right, for lack of a better term, the majority of the people that's in, well, all of those people that's in there is a mix between the northern and the southern kingdom, man. A lot of times they like to just call themselves, what will be a northern kingdom nation. We just all Mexicans. Like, well, some of y'all is Mexicans, and some of y'all so-called Mexicans, and some of y'all are the Southern Kingdom. Same in Brazil. For instance, Brazil got the most amount of so-called slaves in Brazil. So, are they so-called Negroes that's over there, or are they so-called Latinos that's over there, or are they both over there, man? All right. So this is what you have to understand, man. All right. You have this mixing of Jake but they're not to say mixing of Jake, but Jake is being pressed together into this same system, man, under the same people, man, under the Edomites, man. And this is what was prophesied that Esau would do. All right, so understanding the prophecies, the descriptions of these people and the things that they will go through, it's easy for you to be able to tell who is who into the scriptures, man. All right, and let me get into this here Esau, right? Because see, again, people like to say, there's a narrative of the Edomites being Japhet, man. All right, and matter of fact, let me do a quick experiment real quick. So what I'm going to do is, okay, so Japhet, you type in Japhet into the blue letter search, right? In the whole Bible, Japhet occurs 11 times in the scriptures, right? The last time he was, all of them were mentioned in the book of Genesis, except for the last 2 times, which is in 1 Chronicles chapter 1. The last 2 times was in 1 Chronicles chapter 1, right? So that's the last time you hear about Japhet, right? Throughout all the scriptures. 11 times is he mentioned in the Bible. Oops. Edom, when you type in Edom, right? Edom is mentioned. The last time that Edom is mentioned in the Bible, now there's an asterisk beside this, right? The last time Edom was mentioned in the Bible was in the book of Malachi, which is the last book of the first of the Old Testament, right? But it was mentioned, Edom was mentioned 82 times in the entire Bible. So let's just say Edom versus Japhet. Japhet was mentioned 11 times. Edom is mentioned 82 times. Who's more important in the Bible, Edom or Japhet, right? Edom is 8 times more, mentioned 8 times more than Japhet is, man. So clearly, just based off of that alone, Edom is way more important than Japhet, based off of, you know, the things that was spoken about, man. Why the hell is Edom spoken about more than Japhet if Japhet is a so-called white man? And look at what's going on around the globe. The whole globe is in subjection under this nigga right about now and his military, man. No matter how you look at it, you got the world about to be annihilated from two different Edomite factions, man. The Russians and the Americans. But yet and still, they're supposed to be the Japhet, man, who's only mentioned 11 times in the Bible. So who the hell is Edom? This guy's got a bigger role and play in the whole scriptures. Now, if you really into this here scripture, you're like, well, wait a minute. That's a asterisk. You typed in Edom 82 times. He got more than one name in the scriptures, man. So let's go from Edom, right? So Edom was mentioned 82 times in the scriptures. Esau is mentioned 85 times in the Bible, right? The last time it was mentioned in the Bible was in Hebrews chapter 12, right? So you have Edom and Esau. I forgot how many times Esau was or Edom was. It was like 80 something times. Let's just say 80, right? I want to say it was like 84 or something like that. But Edom, let's just say 80 times, and Esau is 85 times. So let's just do some simple math. 80 and 80, right? 160 times is Esau and Edom mentioned in the Bible. But then again, that's not his only name in the scriptures, right? And we're not going to go into the wicked. We're not going to go into the dragon and those other names that they call them. We're going to just go in Esau, Edom, all right? Hold on. And so we're going to look up Idumea, right? Idumea is mentioned. Oh man, how did we just freeze up? Which Idumea is a Greek way of saying Edom. See, there's like a little glitch every time you try to look this up. But I want to say it's 6 times maybe. Hold on. So let's just say 4 times, right? Because every time I try to click search, it just goes away. So let's just say 80, 80, or one was 85, one was, I don't know, 80 something else, right? So 85 plus 4, we'll call that, let's just call that 10. So 90, 80, 170 times, right? So we looked up Esau, Edom, and Idumea, right? And then I typed in Seir, like for Mount Seir. That's another name for them, just like you got Jacob, Israel, and you have Mount Zion, right? So Mount Seir is mentioned 38 times in the scriptures, right? So we could take any of these singly, whether it be Mount Seir, was mentioned way more than Japhet is mentioned in the scriptures, man. Japhet was, what was it, 11 times? Mount Seir is mentioned 38 times in the scriptures, man. All right, then you have Esau and Edom, right, which was around 80 times each, right? Then you have Idumea, which I forgot was like 4 or 5 times or something like that, man. All right, so nevertheless, just to go to show you that this here person has more so-called clout, for a lack of a better terms, in the scriptures than Japhet does, man. All right, and they're mentioned in the New Testament and in the Old Testament. So just based off of that alone, not going into any precepts or prophecies that's dealing with them, right? Just as a quick little experiment, right? Just going in and searching up those names, Esau, Edom, Idumea, Mount Seir, each of those individually has been mentioned more times than Japhet has been, man. All right, so you was to just look at that. If Japhet was the so-called white man and doing all these different things on the face of the earth, wouldn't you think that, like, it has so much pull and sway on the earth? Don't you think that the Lord would have it written about in the new? So let's think of it this way: the Bible is a collection of records of things that went on in the world, right? From the viewpoint of the Israelites, right? They didn't mention everything that happened in the whole world, like all the history and everything from other people, things they had going on, but from the Israelite perspective, man. All right, so big ass events in the world. You don't think that they would talk about these things? So, like, let's say for instance, right? You have shit that happened in America, right? Like, let me find something that didn't happen here in Babylon the Damn Great. That ain't that big of a deal, right? You had, I don't know, just some little basic shit that happens here in Babylon the Great, man. You know, and I can just predict this, right? You know what I'm saying? I ain't even see this, but I know this shit happened, right? So, and you can even look at it that way, man. Last night in, let's say, New York City or Atlanta, Georgia, California. Matter of fact, I can say it this way. Last night in California, there was a shooting, right? Last night in California, there was a shooting out there with them gangs and shit. There was a shooting last night in California. I don't know that for a fact, like, as far as, because I seen the news, it happened in the news, but obviously it wasn't that important that it made it all the way over to where I'm at to be able to see it in the news, if you catch my drift. There are some things that happen that's so big in one state that makes it throughout all the states. Let's say, for instance, the train derailment in Ohio. Now, see, that's not something that's just on local news. It was on their local news. Shit like that happens, you know, in Ohio. Regular shit happens in Ohio that makes the news that none of us see. But when you have a big enough thing that happens in the news, it's gonna make, you know, its rounds around the whole U.S. So we all heard about the train derailment in Ohio, right? Now, you have things that are even bigger than that, right? That happens that the whole world hear about, right? 9/11 was an example, right? That was something that happened in one city in Babylon the Great that all of America heard about, man. All of Babylon the Great heard about 9/11 when it happened, right? Not just all of America, the whole globe heard about 9/11 when it happened because that was of global news. So from that sense, hey, that was something big enough that the whole world understood. Guess what? Everybody's newspaper, news channels in their history documented that. It was so big that everybody would document it, right? Same with what's her name? Queen Elizabeth dying. Then you got the king, her son, you know what I'm saying, being crowned or whatever right about now anyway, right? The whole world knows about these things because it's such a big thing that goes on, right? So now, saying all that to say this, if the so-called white man has done so much stuff on a planet Earth that is worldwide news and the things he's done, you know, they take credit for the airplanes, global trade, global wars, on such a scale, the type of weaponry that they have, the nuclear bombs, the technology, the internet, and all these different things that they so-called claim credit for and all these things, you don't think that the Most High will write him into the scriptures from the things he's doing now? Think about Revelation 13 and 16. He caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive that mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Somebody, now when you really break that down, and we understand what it is, the microchip, but for somebody to come around and have this type of technology and this mindset to get all these things going, right, wouldn't you think that he would be written about to be able to do something like this, man? All right, now who's actually pushing forth this here agenda, right? Is it the Japhetic people, man? Are the Japhetic people rule the whole earth? Hey, look, we about to get this here, so on and so forth, and put this here chip up inside you. Now, granted, let's look at it this way. China already has this here system damn near in place, but see, you don't. It's not them that's really getting the so-called credit for this here stuff, man. It's Esau Edom that's getting the credit for this here system, man. Him and his technology, man. You got Elon Musk at the forefront of these things with his Neuralink system. All right, and then these RFID chips and everything else like that, putting what they call transhumanism, man. So Esau is making such an impact, or let me change my word. And the so-called white man is making such an impact on the earth, and the earth as we live today, and his kingdom with Babylon the Great, man. The only people to drop a nuclear bomb on another nation, man. All right, to use his military to have a worldwide global dominance on the face of the earth. And you don't think that that person would be written about in the scripture, man? This nigga that took peace from the whole earth and had everybody bow down and the whole earth is quieted was quieted before him, man. Nobody stood up against him. Nobody said shit against him. Hey, he walked around unchecked, man. Now, I mean, now it's a little bit of different atmosphere and everything else like that, but 10, 15 years ago, ain't nobody was saying nothing to the so-called white man internationally, man. They was afraid to. Now, for this guy to be such a juggernaut on the face of the earth, why wouldn't the Most High write about him? All right, so you got to ask yourself, if the so-called if the so-called white man was Japhet, how come he only mentioned like 11 times in the Bible? How come the Most High never wrote the shit that he would do on the face of the earth, right? And then on the flip side, if you don't know who the so-called white man is in the scriptures, and you're trying to find out about it, you have to ask yourself, how is the so-called white man so dominant on the face of the earth and impacting the earth, and the Most High wouldn't write about him? Who the fuck is he that the Most High don't even check him and write about him in the scriptures, man? He didn't wrote about Nebuchadnezzar. He didn't wrote about what's his name? Darius and Cyrus, Xerxes, Alexander the Greek. Hey, that was another time. You got another Edomite. It was the first of them, those motherfuckers right there, man. Came when they first started to come up and take rulership, man. The whole earth was quieted before him, and he was given, the blessing was, what was his blessing, man? Not him particularly, but them as a whole. Their blessing was the sword, man. Hey, man, he conquered the earth faster than anybody else in all of history, man. All right, went through the whole earth. I want to say in 12 years or some shit, this nigga done conquered the whole entire earth, man, and wound up dying, man. All right, at a very young age, man. He subdued the whole earth, made the whole earth quiet before him. Nobody was standing up against him. This is how he wound up taking over. So you think that this guy would have? Well, he was actually written about in the scriptures, as far as Alexander was. But as a whole, these Edomites, as a whole, you think that they would have this much an impact on the earth, and the Lord wasn't gonna write about them? All right, is he higher than God? You know, hey, God said, I ain't writing about this nigga. I don't want this nigga to come and slay me. So I'm gonna just leave him the fuck alone over there and keep doing what he's doing. No, man. He's written about. In fact, he's written throughout the whole scriptures because he would dominate and change the whole face of the earth. But he's got you, matter of fact, let me see if I can find that. Well, I could read that too. That's not what I was looking for, though. All right, here we go. Let me read this first, though. First, 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. It says, "Least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices." So we know about the whitewashing of the imagery, all right, and changing history itself. He's trying to do it right now with critical race theory. Jake that came over here willingly to work and everything. They wasn't forcibly brought over here. The so-called white man didn't take them into captivity. The majority of the white people were so-called enslaved under black people in slavery. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't rewrote the history so that we don't have the shit up. You know what I'm saying? These niggas, this is what the hell they doing, man. These are the devices that we're not ignorant of, man. But, not all white people own slaves. So what percentage of the white people that was here in America owned slaves? Was it more? Was the majority of the white people that was here in that time, were they slave owners or were they slaves at that point in time? Right? Because, see, you can have, you know about the divisiveness in some of this here stuff that they talk about, like when they put headlines. Oh, black women are the #1 entrepreneurs. They're moving far past this and that. They'll tell you shit like that, like as if so-called black women is really like doing it big with businesses and stuff. Like, yeah, a lot of these, like just women in general, are on OnlyFans and shit like that. It don't mean you're an entrepreneur. Like, you're not really producing nothing, man. You're producing content, but you're not really producing anything, man. Oh, a lot of these people are so-called business owners and everything. Yeah, y'all driving Uber. You're like a subcontractor. You're a 1099. You like, you know what I'm saying? That's not really you having a goddamn business and everything else, like content creators and things like that. So, a lot of these things are skewed. Oh, unemployment rate and everything, and these people are unemployed. Well, you're saying all these people, these young folks are unemployed, but a lot of these young folks is making money off of YouTube, TikTok, and shit. Officially, they considered as unemployed, but they got a goddamn job, and they making more money than you. So, are you really saying that you just got all these people that don't work at all, not making no money? How the fuck ain't nobody working, but people still got to pay bills? Where they getting the money from? Don't add up. But see, this is how you read these articles that are deceptive, man. All right, so you can't just, sometimes when Esau say some things, you got to go further into these things, man. Oh, not all white people own slaves. So you talking about that one Edomite that didn't own no slaves? You gonna sit here and try to paint the pictures like all the Edomites was like him? That he was in the majority and not the minority of these things, right? You know what I'm saying? Oh well, some black people own slaves and everything else like that over here in Babylon the Great. But it was like at that point in time when you just having black skin, they automatically knew that you was the so-called enemy at that point in time. So let's just say you was a so-called black man that owned slaves, and you was walking to the store or whatever, whatnot. When an Edomite found and saw you, how you think they was gonna treat you? They about to round you. Oh no, I'm a slave owner. Wait a minute, I got different this and that. And the Spirit bears witness with our spirit. The same thing happened to the same very day, man. You can go online right now and look up police pulls over DA, police pulls over police chief, police pulls over mayor, police pulls over governor. Now, when you look up some of these things, you'll see that the police is pulling over these people in these higher positions than a police officer, but they be jakes, and then they still treat them like niggas and shit like that. Oh yeah, well, whatever. I don't believe. Well, we'll find out about these. We'll find out about that. Then they be feeling all kind of salty or whatever when they find out when they go to court. Like, yo, you gave the fucking head judge a ticket. You pulled this nigga over, and then you gotta go to the courtroom, his courtroom, to try to fight this. Oh, nigga, you just sealed your own goddamn death. Like, you know what I'm saying? Same things happen to the same very day, man. All right, yeah, you do have some judges that are so-called black, but let's give you a different example, right? Let's just say, for the argument's sake, right? Barack Obama, we'll so-called claim him as a jake, for the argument of this sake, right? Let's just say he is a so-called black man, right? We know a little bit different than that, but just because he wound up becoming a president here in America, and you got Kamala Harris, we'll just claim her as well too, for the argument's sake, as a vice president. Can we sit here and say just because you had not all the presidents was all white? Yeah, all right. So you got an asterisk. All the presidents wasn't white. You did have one that was a so-called black man, but what the fuck did he wind up doing? Like, Is he really like, that's just like saying a proxy war, man. All right, is Ukraine really fighting Russia, or is America fighting Russia? You can say, yeah, Ukraine is fighting Russia, but it's really the Americans that's fighting Russia. So was Barack Obama really in charge, or was it the Edomites that was in charge? Now, if you know about certain people like George Soros, or in fact, Obama's scenario, right? He had a nigga named Zbig Brzezinski that was his advisor, man. And this nigga been in the White House since, what's that nigga name? Jimmy Carter was in office, man. So you got Zbig Brzezinski, this nigga not even American, basically been controlling the White House, the president, since Jimmy Carter was alive, or was the president, all the way up until Barack Obama. I think he died like throughout Barack Obama's term, if not, you know, maybe through Trump's term or whatever. But nevertheless, hey, you know, not all the presidents was white. Y'all can't, it's not racist because all the presidents, like, bruh, 99.9% of the presidents were so-called white. That 0.1% was a so-called black man. And really, we can go into that. This nigga ain't really, he's not really Jake like that, man. So y'all argument don't really hold up. But you want, oh, we ain't racist because all of our presidents was, like, bro, these are the semantics. Let's go and look at the fine print. Somebody on the surface level, not all the presidents was black. Yeah, okay, I believe it. So that, you can sit there and think half of them was black, half of them was white, half of them was Mexicans, or whatever. But when you really look at the fine detail, like, nigga, out of 40-something, 44, 45 presidents, whatever it is, 45 now, out of 45 presidents, 44 of them motherfuckers was Edomites. You telling me that one of them, oh, see, we fair. That ain't, that's half and half would be somewhat fair. All right, but yet and still, this is the narrative that they push off. That's why I say you got to go into the fine print of these things, man. All right, you listening to these Edomites. Hey, man, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, man. We're not ignorant of the bullshit that you're trying to sell us and everything else like that, right? Let's read this other precept in 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 13. For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into apostles of Hamashiach. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Hey, Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light, having you believe that this so-called white man is a saint of God. He's trying to help out everybody, trying to do all these things that's productive for everybody. In reality, he's destroying every damn thing, man. And look at the policies that he push and be destroying people, man. Matter of fact, that's in let me see if I can find that too. Now this is we're speaking about somebody different, but nevertheless the same shit that Esau is doing. Let me see. Oh, I got another precept I can grab. Let me find that one after this one. This is Daniel 2, I think it is. Or not Daniel 2, probably like Daniel 8. Yeah, Daniel 8 and verse 25. It says, and through his policy, he also shall cause craft to prosper. And in his heart, and in his hand shall he magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, and he shall be broken without hand. All right, so with his policy causing craft to prosper, right? Let me find this other precept real quick. Boom. Isaiah 10 and 1, it says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, that write grievousness which they have prescribed. And looking at this damn devil, right, transforming himself into an angel of light, he creates things that's so-called to help out people, man. But in reality, it's just destroying people. Hey, we got to get, for the climate change and protecting the planet, we got to get our carbon emissions down and everything else like that. So we got to get you to stop eating beef. You know what I'm saying? We got to put gas masks on cows because they farting too much and everything else like that. Oh, they causing too much. Nigga, you know, in fact, there was way more cows on the face of the earth back then than they are today. Because just how Esau has things going. Things are, and was way more abundant back then than they are today, man. All right, you don't believe, back in the days, you didn't have these modernized cities like this where it was just concrete everywhere. Just look at, if you know about, you have to, it depends on where you at, right? You can go to some places like kind of where I'm at. When I first moved out to this area, it was like damn near a bunch of farmland and everything else like that, man. Now, in animals, wild animals, now they created cities out in these areas and stuff like that. So now you start to see a lot of these animals running up out of, you know, they being chased out of their habitats and everything else like that, man. So saying all that to say this, like you see all this concrete, like, yo, this used to all be farmland 20 years ago, man. You used to have a bunch of wild animals running through here, but now you don't see these wild animals no more, you know. Their populations have been cut down. So using that, hey, man, back in the olden days, like think about New York or Manhattan, all that concrete that was out there. When the natives was living there, they didn't have all that shit, man. They had wild animals running around. So, hey, man, back in the olden days, you had way more animals than you have today just roaming around like that, man. But Esau, listening to him, oh, we got to get the carbon emissions down. But he's not telling you, we're not ignorant of his device. He's trying to reduce the population. It's too many of you niggas out here taking up our resources, man. God damn it, man, y'all fucking up our, you know what I'm saying? Look, let's bring it to a smaller level. Hey, look, we having a pizza party at work. We want to make sure everybody got enough, at least got their first slice of pizza before we have second rounds of pizza and everything else like that. But guess what? Now I'm a devil over here. I'm trying to devise my way to get more pizza, how to finesse the system. So what do? I'm about to send out an email to the people that's coming to the pizza party and tell them it's in a different time, a different place, on a different day, so that these niggas don't even show up. So I'm gonna be the only person in the pizza party like, well, fuck, ain't nobody show up. So I might as well just eat my heart out, man. Right? So that's being deceptive. That's how Esau is, man. All right, go and change up things and then, oh, you know what? We can have a safer place on the earth if we just had less people, man. You know what I'm saying? You can bring. I always say this. Yeah, you can bring down crime, poverty. You can bring down starvation, people, sicknesses, illness. You can bring all this stuff down. You know, we got so much sicknesses and disease in the earth. In fact, y'all want to get rid of STDs in the earth? Get rid of the people. You won't have STDs in the earth, right? You want to get rid of drunk driving? Get rid of the people on the earth. You won't have no more drunk driving. You want to get rid of people murdering people and everything? Get rid of all the people. You won't have no more murdering in the society, man. All right? But the ways of trying to fix these things, conventional ways, Esau don't go those types of ways, man. Like in prison, you want to stop prison violence and everything. Why don't you reform and rehabilitate these people, man? What you out here doing is just making them making them hardened criminals, man. All right, but their objective is, we want to bring peace into the prison. We'll just put them all on drugs so that they don't be acting out and everything else. But you wind up killing them all off, man. All right, we're not ignorant of these devices, man. Esau has transformed himself into an angel of light, trying to make himself seem like he's helping out the people, but in reality, he's killing off the whole damn earth, man. This is part of his internal MO, man, what he was created for. Lord, so we'll get to that. But continuing on, where are we at? 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse, let's go back up to 13. For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Hamashiach. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Therefore is there no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. Right? So nevertheless, him and his people, they all transform themselves into, we're trying to help out, we're trying to do the right thing. And this, like we was listening to that video, the Edomites say, we're trying to make things better for us, and you got all these illegal immigrants and all, we got to get rid of them. Nigga, they not the problem. You the problem. You the one came over here and kicked them out of their land and put up a border wall, and then trying to spend all this money to keep these people out of the country, when these are the people that's actually making the country go round, man. Go out, and you want to do an experiment for anybody that has a discrepancy with this. Get in your car and go downtown to your nearest city, the downtown area, and look around. You see, and they building up skyscrapers all over the goddamn place, right? These condos and shit. Go out to these condos and look at the construction crew that's building up these condos, man. Go out to these subdivisions that's getting built and look at who's building those things. Go out to the construction crew that's building the roads and the bridges and see who out there working on those things, man. Go out to these neighborhoods that's already established in these Edomite neighborhoods and see who cutting the grass and who cleaning these houses and everything else like that, man. It's Jake, man. All right, predominantly the Northern Kingdom. So all the things that you sit here, the fruits and the vegetables, go into your farmers markets, your grocery stores, and see who the fuck is doing. See where I live at, right? We got a lot of these, like I said, we got a lot of these farms out here that's out and about. So I can literally just ride up and down the roads and see where a lot of this here food is coming from out of these farms. And I can tell you, there's a gas station around the corner from my house where one of the farms, they pull up in these big ass school buses, about 8 or 9 school buses full of Issachar, right? And they getting off and cashing their checks and everything else like that, man. All right, so you see, these are the folks that's making the world go around. And then you had a nerve of people that's coming in there. Oh my gosh, all these Mexicans, they smelly. These motherfuckers is getting off of work from working on these hot ass fields and shit. Well, your ass don't want to go out into the fields, but guess what? You love eating that fresh fruit. I got my fruit bowl and everything else like that. And guess what? Somebody's hands had to go out there and pick that shit, man. In the hot ass Florida sun, man. All right, but you want to go and get rid of these damn people, man. This is why we call your ass a damn devil, man. You're not appreciative of the thing, man. These are the damn Edomites, man. All right, and again, you have to just spiritually, how do I say, weigh these things out. Come, like the scripture say, come, consider therefore. All right, reason with me, man. All right, I'm telling you the truth. Look around and look out and about and see what's going on, man. Like I just said, go to any of these construction sites. Now you might find, don't be simple. Oh, there's an Edomite right there. This nigga is the boss. Look at who he got working for him, that's building up all this shit for him, man. And just like with our blessings in Isaiah 60, they say the sons of strangers and kings in them is going to build up our cities and our walls. Right now, we're in Esau's kingdom, where we're doing those things for him right about now, man. Go out there to the construction sites, like I said, who building up these big ass houses they ain't gonna never live in, man. It's Jake that's out here doing these things, man. All right, I be seeing Jakes in these I work in these neighborhoods, man. I be seeing Issachar out there all the damn time, you know what I'm saying? Whether they be working on the irrigation system, working on landscaping and stuff like that. Sometimes they don't be speaking English and nothing else like that. But in these high-end neighborhoods and stuff like that. But hey, they're the ones making these neighborhoods look beautified day in and day out, man. Lush green grass, nice trees and everything else out there like that, man. Keeping the lawns all cut and tended to, cleaning the houses and everything else like that, man. Making their whole houses shine and everything. But Jake don't get to enjoy none of those things, man. So the audacity of these people to sit there and try to call Jake out for all these illegal immigrants, everything that you got you wouldn't have any of these things if it wasn't for us, man. All right, so hey, just like when we get into the kingdom, they're gonna build us up for us. We're not gonna be doing the work, man. We're not gonna say, oh, we don't want y'all in our kingdom like that, because we're gonna need y'all to build our kingdom up, man. But we're not ignorant of these here devices. We can see through what Esau has going on to for our people, man. The conditions he have our people in, man. All right, and when you look at what he has done to the northern and the southern kingdom, it's a mirror image of itself, man. He don't treat these other nations like that, man. Oh, it's because you got so-called black skin. Well, he don't treat those Africans like he treat us, man. We not the same as them folks, man. He don't treat Elam like he treat Issachar. They got the same skin color, man. Hey, he don't treat them the same. All right, but he treats so-called Negroes and so-called Latinos and Native Americans all the same, man. All right, but see, we're not ignorant of these here devices. We know what's going on out here, man. The devil has transformed himself into an angel of light, so we're not really tripping when this nigga be walking around saying he's this and he's that. Nah, man. We know what the hell is really going on out here, man. You know, it's funny. Speaking of the Spirit Bear Witness, Northern Kingdom, Jake just pulled up over here, right? They got their little car all decked out. Now, this some real shit right here, right? They got all the little shit on the side. But, hey, us Jakes, we can understand, too. Now, they got all the racing shit on the side of their little car. This is not really the type of car you want to be racing in and nothing else like that. But the Spirit Bear Witness with our spirit, right? They're going to go and do all this, put all this little stickers and shit to make it seem like they racing and everything else like that. But what does Judah do? Right, Judah will go get him a $500 box Chevy and put the M&M logo on the side, Skittles logo on the side. That's the same shit. That's why we speak the same language. Yeah, I understand where he's coming from with that. He put the spirit on that car. He put his spirit into that car, man. I might not like it. I might think it's looking stupid, but for him, his little racing stripes on the side, that's the shit for him, right? But see, Esau, I was talking to somebody the other day about this too, and the spirit was going talking about Jacob and Esau and how the spirits are different, right? He was talking about how Esau, the difference between Esau and Jake, right? Esau will go and get him a brand new truck and go run it through the mud, keep his shit dirty, and that's a fun time for him. But Jake will be the one to go get him a brand new truck. Don't even got to be a brand new truck. Go get him an old ass truck with the paint all chipping off the side. No more gloss coat on top of that motherfucker. But every weekend, this nigga's at the car wash shining that motherfucker up, right? Making that motherfucker look clean, right? Make sure hey, one thing, Jake had the most busted ass car in the whole wide world, man. Everything falling apart with this motherfucker. But guess what? Jake gonna have a fly ass radio in his car. He gonna have some music in his car, man. That's the spirit of Jake, man. Versus the opposite of Esau. Esau, hey, I just want to be able to go off road as long as I can be outside in the wild and getting dirty in this motherfucker. I'm good, right? So, hey, the spirit bears witness with our spirit, man. We understand that there's a difference between these two, man. All right. But let's go back into. Let me read this one more time. We're gonna grab some stuff about Esau, man. 2 Corinthians 11 and 13. For such are false apostles, deceitful workers. Right, and they're deceitful workers, man. All the things that they're doing is for the demise of life itself, man. They're in this system, for lack of a better term, they're anti-Hamashiach, man. They're against the Lord and the things he's got going on, man. The Lord said, hey, I created male and female. Oh, Esau said there's a billion different gender identities and things like that, man. The Most High said he created every fruit and vegetable with their seed on the inside of them, man. Esau said, nah, hell no, we're going to give you some seedless shit, man. The Most High said, be fruitful and multiply. Esau said, hell no, we're going to give you contraceptives and birth control. You motherfuckers is doing too much. Now you have issues like China. They're trying to accelerate their population because they about to, you talking about how big of a population they got, but you have to keep reproducing, all right, to keep things going on. They didn't went through the one-child policy some while back and everything else like that. Now you got all these people getting older. You don't have enough people to replace them. Same thing that's going on over there in Europe. These Edomites is paying motherfuckers to come over there and impregnate their women, man. They're over there busting in these immigrants and things like that, but in reality, they just replacing themselves, man. All right, hey, that video I was showing you, if I would have let it play out to the end, all right, they was talking about, let me see if I can pull that, see if it's still up. It was on one of those websites like Twitter or some shit, and I don't have that, so it'll be a little bit, I try to go to it, it may tell me to sign in. Yeah, I gotta log back in or just reload the page, but the video too long. But anyway, the Jake was telling the Edomite in the video, he said, bruh, he wasn't even gonna argue with him. He said, just wait 20 years and you ain't gotta worry about it. Hey, man, wherever they was talking about, Texas or California, wherever they was talking about, he said, hey man, in 20 years, it's gonna be brown out there anyway. You gonna be extinct anyway, man. 20 y'all, fuck y'all niggas. We ain't even gotta fight y'all. We just gonna outbreed. Judah was telling Issachar, hey, y'all just keep popping out babies, and in 20 years, y'all ain't gotta worry about this nigga no more, man. But hey, Lord's will, the Lord is gonna take these Edomites out of the face of the earth, man. But as you see the decay of what's going on with these people, man, with their rulership and everything else like that, man, Esau's the cause of all these damn problems, man. All right. Let's go from there to matter of fact, I didn't even read this. Let's go back to it. We're not gonna get that. We'll go back to Genesis 27. Because I was gonna go into, we were speaking a little bit earlier, but kind of switched about Esau and the skin color thing and the seed being of their father and everything else like that, man. It don't matter what you look like. It's the spirit that's inside of you, man. That's who you really are. So just breezing over this roughly real quick. You know what I'm saying? Hey, because in was it Genesis 36, which we didn't read, goes into Esau having children with Hamites, right? Oh, well, see, he had babies with these black folks. They gonna look black, blah blah blah. Look, man, the spirit beareth witness, man. All right, you have you have some Jakes, right? That prime example. I just named one of them, Mariah Carey, right? Is Mariah Carey a so-called black woman or a so-called white woman? Put that down in the comment section below. People saying in the video, hey, answer the comment section below. Is this an Edomite or a Jake? Right? Now, I mean, if you know, you know. Like we read earlier, their pedigrees about their fathers, man. All you would have to do is just look up Mariah Carey's father, right? You don't even have to do all that, but you can just look at her spirit, man. Like this, out of the female singers, we're not going back as far as Shaka Khan and all of them back in them days, but as far as this newer wave of women, let's just say from the 90s on forward, what woman is hitting notes like that, man? There's no woman that hit notes like that from her generation on down, even into the same day. Now, again, you had before her generation, the Shaka Khans and Patti LaBelle's and things like that. They was doing the shit, but I'm saying from the next generation on down, man, Mariah Carey she still hold a torch as far as her voice. You know what I'm saying? And the only person that maybe can come in the vicinity of her and hitting them notes would be what your girl name is. Well, there's another chick actually. If she decides to sing this type of music, Christina Aguilera. But I was gonna say Beyonce, right? But they so far down below, way beyond Mariah Carey. But hey, look at Christina Aguilera and look at Mariah Carey, man. Both of them look like so-called white women from just a natural eye or whatever. But they both Jakes, man. All right, you got the northern and the southern kingdom. Mariah Carey from the southern kingdom, and Christina Aguilera from the northern kingdom, man. All right, their father, I forgot where Christina Aguilera was from. I'm not gonna say I don't know if she was so-called quote-unquote Mexican, but nevertheless, you just look at their fathers, man. But then also look at the spirits that's inside of them, man. All right, there was a difference between homegirl Christina and then the other girl Britney Spears, man. Britney Spears wasn't hitting no goddamn notes like that, man. That's just regular pop music that you can just kind of pop, pop, pop all the way around to, man. All right, but nevertheless, hey, man, this is when you go into the scriptures, man, like we read earlier, the spirit bears witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High, man. So, hey, you're going to go down through who your forefathers are. Again, it doesn't matter what you look like on an outwardly appearance, all right? But Tia and Tamara, the twins, right? Those are Edomites, right? Lauren London, that's an Edomite, or an Amalekite. She's an Edomite as well, too, but that's an Amalekite based off of who their fathers are, man. All right, so, but people will sit there and look, oh, that's a so-called black woman right there. Nah, that's an Edomite. All right, so we're not going off of your skin color or what you look like. Yeah, Esau might have had sex with these Hamites, and they might have been looking like so-called black people walking around at this point in time. But they Edomites, man, based off of who their forefathers are, man. All right. So nevertheless, hey, even in slave times, man, when Esau was impregnating these Jake women, those children that came out, they would say, oh, well, these are slave children or whatever, or they would basically be Edomites that they was putting into captivity. So yeah, Esau has some Edomites in captivity by way of him having sex with these Jake women and having the babies, and they say, oh, well, y'all got one drop of Negro blood, you a Negro, you a slave. But that's in reality, he's enslaving his own people, man. All right? But nevertheless, hey, you have Judah that decided to sleep with the slave master's wife and produce a child, right? Now they take this child out and raise him with the Edomites. Now you got a Jake that's actually in charge in this here scenario, whatever. But, that's not the majority of the things that was going on. And a lot of times you will go wind up reverting right back into that same those curses again, man. Some of Jakes, they'll feel like they can in the first generation or their generation, they'll break those curses, get up out of there. But the second or third generation, they right back into those curses, man. there's a saying that where there's two sayings, it's the same saying. You know, good times breed soft men type scenario. You know, or my forefather, my great grandfather walked to work. His son rode a bike to work. His son drove a Cadillac to work. My son's gonna drive a Ferrari to work, and his son's gonna be back walking to work, man. All right, that cycle that keeps going back over and over. You gonna go right back to the beginning because you can't escape these curses, man. All right, but nevertheless, let's continue reading. Let me go over here to Genesis 27 because we can go to Genesis 25 in the beginning. Bring back another point that I was going into a little earlier, but nevertheless, hey man, we can go through with all the how do I say the prophecies about this here, man, and see who fits these things, right? So this is Genesis 25. Oh, Genesis 25, and let me start up a little bit. 21. It says, and Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren, and Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went in to inquire of the Lord, so she was having complications in her pregnancy, right? Went to ask the Lord what was going on. Now, granted, you know, again, I made this point earlier, you know, in Deuteronomy chapter 32, how the Most High separated the nations, right? Here's a point in time where the nation's going to be separated. So it's not necessarily about your so-called biology, or how they would say it nowadays, your DNA. In reality, hey, you know, you can say, for a lack of a better terms, when the Lord come back, He's going to do a massive DNA test to find out who is His people, who is not His people. And only those people who have that that go back on the male's sperm line, right, going back all the way to Jacob, is going to be the ones that's going to be delivered, man. You know, the elect out of those people, that's going to be of that stock. So you can say, yeah, it's going to be a so-called DNA test, and they're going to go that way and everything else like that. But in a greater sense, people say, oh, well, DNA, this, and that. Hey, it don't matter about that, because in this sense, you have Isaac and Rebekah, right? A husband and a wife. They're about to have two twins. Wouldn't you say that most of the time you see twins, you could have a fraternal, or I forgot the other term, but you can have identical or unidentical twins. Now, these twins ain't going to necessarily look alike, but look, they got the same mother and the same father. Don't you think they would have the same DNA markers, man? All right, if you're going to go, how they say, hey, you got to go DNA test, see if that's my kid. If they was going to go pull a DNA test on Jacob and Esau to see if they was Isaac's kids, they were going to both come back as positive. Yeah, they both your kids. I don't give a fuck what they look like. They both your kids, right? So, in a sense, they would have the same DNA at that point, right? You know, if you know, you know. So, like, the point I'm trying to make is some people say, oh, our DNA, I got a little bit of this and I got a little bit of that. That don't really even fucking matter, man. Because it's when the Most High divided up these different nations, like I said, you could say, well, how do they come out of Rebekah and Isaac, but they's two separate nations? Because the Most High called them two separate nations, man. He put the divide in between them, so let's read it. Because remember, she asked, why am I thus, right? They had that complication. Verse 23, it says, and Yahweh said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So, hey, it's the Most High that puts that divide. It's the Most High that creates that division in between the two, man. All right, He the one called two separate nations, and in a sense, you know, if you want to so-called follow it this way, He put that divide in DNA between the two, when in reality they would have had the same mother and the same father, right? But He called them to be two separate nations. So, you know, you have some people that be, oh, well, I did 23andMe, and I'm part this, part that, blah, 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 blah. Man, who was your fathers, man? Who was your forefathers, man? You know, I heard a story about somebody that was speaking like this the other day. They was like, yeah, you know, he's a so-called black man. His father was a so-called black man, but then, you know, going back to their forefathers, it's like, yeah, my great-great-grandfather was a so-called white man, and this is that. Oh, you might be an Edomite, man. All right, but then again, also looking at the spirit, that Edomite dude that you're looking at may not have been an Edomite. It might have been an Israelite that looked like an Edomite, man. And not to go too far into these people and the skin color and everything else like that, because again, you looking just at your grandparents, right? Blake Griffin look at his father, like, yeah, this is a Jake, man. This is a Levite. This you know, a so-called Haitian. He's very dark skinned. But now Blake Griffin's son, right, look like Macaulay Culkin, a little young Home Alone Macaulay Culkin, man. Now, let's say we go down 4 or 5 generations down the line from him, and he keep reproducing with so-called Edomite women, right? He just keep reproducing with Edomite women. Down the line, I mean, the little boy already looked like a Macaulay Culkin, blonde-haired, blue-eyed little boy. But let's just say these kids grow up and they looking back, oh, my forefather was a so-called white man. I'm an Edomite. No, they're not Edomites. They're actually Israelites. They just look like Edomites all the way on down, man. So going into all these things, hey, it's not about what you look like, but it's who your forefathers are, all right? So let's continue on. well, let's finish this 23. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. And we're not going to get too far into all these things, but one's going to be stronger than the other. All right, now, when you talk about these things, like, now you can look at, just look at the modern day gladiators, right? The spirit beareth witness with our spirit, man. When we was back in Rome, we was the top gladiators. Even though they give you these goddamn movies, you know, that showcase to be the Edomites, when in reality we can look around, it's the Israelites that's the top gladiators. Again, we the salt of the earth, so we excel in everything, right? And we got the least amount of everything, right? But we have the most amount of everything, if you catch my drift. Jake wasn't growing up in these households where they had everything lined up and everything, the best of the best conditions to be the best that they could be. Sent to school to learn how to play music, how to dance there. All this. Hell nah, man. Joe Jackson was out there in the goddamn backyard working at a steel mill, beating them little boys, Michael Dance, spin again. And we was produced Michael Jackson, right? The whole world is still in Michael Jackson damn near is what, the number 2 or the number 3? I think he's like the second most famous person in the whole earth behind Yahushua. You see what I'm saying? Like literally, he is the like the second most famous person. Well, actually, he's like the 3rd or the 4th person, because you have like I think it's like Yahushua, I want to say Muhammad from Islam, and then you have like Michael Jackson. But it might be Michael Jackson over top of him. I think I've seen it vice versa on these different lists. But nevertheless, hey man, you know what I'm saying? He didn't have a household where they could have sent them to get music lessons, singing lessons, and all these different things. But guess what? They was all them kids in that one household, very poor and everything. But they, look, the top entertaining family on the face of the earth, man. Michael Jackson is nobody's gonna ever surpass him ever in life from the things he's wound up doing, man. All right, you know, you got like Jakes that play basketball, right? Didn't have the right kind of coaching and all these types of things, these different programs, the after school to work on the jump. They out here playing basketball in the hood with no damn net, man. I got a milk crate over there shooting making these trick shots, man. Doing crossovers and everything. He the only one playing it. He playing his goddamn self, man. But then he become the top basketball player out here, man. So Jake don't be having nothing, but then Jake be having everything. All right? Because, again, Jake is the salt of the earth. Jake put that season on everything, man. Think about how crazy basketball used to be till Jake got up in there. Started with the crossovers and shit like that, man. The fakes and everything else like that. Dunking the ball and shit like that, man. Look at boxing, man. They used to all have the boxing like this and everything else like that. Then you had Jake come in like Muhammad Ali, shuffling his feet and everything else like that. You got, also Ali and Mike Tyson talking shit in the middle of the boxing match. Say my name, bitch. Say my name. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Dancing and everything else like that, man. All right, look at the UFC, man. All right, the top UFC stars and everything else like that, man. It's all Jakes, man. Northern and Southern Kingdom, man. Top football players, the top soccer players, the top baseball players, man. All the sports is dominated by Jake, man. So the spirit bear, we was back in the olden days kicking ass like that. We in the modern days kicking ass like that today, man. Same people, same spirit, but the scriptures say one shall be stronger than the other. Who do you think is out here doing all these things like that, man? All right, when you go into the war, all right, all these different wars and these militaries, hey, you talking about, our special forces this and our special forces that. Hey, man, there's always a category of soldiers that you never really hear about. But when you look into it, it's always Jake, man. You had, I believe it was the Buffalo Soldiers or whatever it was, where they had Northern Kingdom, you know, Gad and them fighting with Esau against Gad, man. The only way he was able to take him down was by using, well, not the only way, because this nigga used what they called the Gatling gun, right? And killed off the bison and shit. So they was coming up with these damn trains and just mowing Jake down, right? But nevertheless, a lot of their victories came based off of them using Jake against Jake, man. All right, and also in the same times with Judah and everything, man. You had Jake that was rising up and everything with the Martin Luther Kings and the MLKs and all the what they call them, the Black Peace Stones or whatever, the Black Disciples and all these different gangs and stuff, the Crips, right? You know, the Latin Kings, all of these big major gangs, the foundations of these things. You go and you look at the foundations of why they created these gangs, and then what happened to these gangs. They was all infiltrated by Esau, but by using Jake to throw off Jake, man. So Esau couldn't come to them directly and overthrow these damn organizations or what you call nowadays gangs and stuff. He had, or these so-called black leaders, he had to come and take Jake to go in there and overthrow them like that, man, because he can't directly go in with these things, man. All right, you know, when Esau needed some new innovation and new technology, man, he uses Jake to go and come up with these things. I believe even GPS was created by a so-called black woman. All right, yeah, I think it was GPS. But hey, all these different things. NASA, right? NASA wouldn't even. They wouldn't. I forgot what it was. A group of so-called black women was like the whole reason they could even get that shit. Something that they created was made it easier for them to be able to travel up there with, man. All right, so Esau wouldn't have anything if it wasn't for Jake. So going back to Jake being the salt of the earth, all right, one being stronger than the other. All right, when you come again, you go to the sports and all these different things. Hey, man, you got a basketball, even in high school, man. You got a basketball team full of all Jakes versus all Edomites. Man, Esau gonna get blowed out the goddamn water. All right, you got a football team of all Jakes versus all Edomites. Esau getting blowed out the water. Track and field, Esau getting blowed out the damn water, man. All right, so hey, there's really nothing that Esau prevails against Jake in. All right, because one's gonna be stronger than the other one, man. All right, but then again, with the bottom of the barrel, we don't know who the hell we are. We in a that's like me saying, look, my car's so goddamn fast, I could beat your ass in the race. But check this out. I got 2 flat tires and my frame bent. My steering wheel don't work no more. I can't even see where the fuck we going. But I still dusted your ass. How the fuck? Like, bro, my car all broke down. I got 4 flat tires riding on rims and still beat your ass in the drag race. And I gave you a head start. That's Jake versus Esau, man. So imagine when I get these tires on this goddamn car. Imagine when I get my shit right. Bro, you ain't gonna really have no chance, man. So one's gonna be stronger than the elder. One gonna be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. And we know that the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, which was Esau. He's about to serve us, all right? But nevertheless, let's jump over to Genesis 27 to get a little bit. Whoa. Let me go back. Genesis 25 and thought it was right here. Yeah. Verse 27. All right, 25 and 27. And the boys grew, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter and a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. All right, so hey, Esau was a mighty hunter. All right, hey, he was very skilled at that. That's one of the things that Esau excels in, man. He has hunting channels. He has all these different things, the duck calls and all this. That's what Esau does, man. He also knows how to hunt the people, man. All right, how to entrap and ensnare them. All right, and different things, how to lure people into this and lure people into that. You got your boy, what's his name? What's his name? God damn, that just slipped my mind. It's him and his nephew. What's his name? Freed? Or what was his name? Anyway, he became the father of propaganda, right? It was him and his nephew. Damn, and I can't even Sigmund Freed or some shit. Let me look him up real quick. But anyway, with this guy, you know, talking about being a cunning hunter. Let me see. Father of propaganda. Edward Bernays, that's his name. Let me see what his uncle's name was. His uncle's name was Sigmund Freed. All right, that's what his name was. But anyway, Edward Bernays, right? Going into becoming this mighty hunter. This guy was the father of propaganda. It goes deep because you can go into why people like the diamond rings. They created an industry off of this, man. Every kiss begins with a K or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They go into all these things. Man, you got to go and do the research on these things. But what he is doing is setting traps and snares for the people to reel them in into the industry to be able to buy and sell or you know, to buy their commerce. So like when you go in shopping in grocery stores and things like this, go to the mall, they always playing a certain type of music, keep you at calm and at peace. You have different logos with different shapes inside of these things with different colors that excite certain things, right? Like I said, the lady in the red dress. Forgot what the different colors push forward to certain things. But hey, this nigga was the father of all that stuff. But going in and show you as a cunning hunter, right? They know how to hunt people. They know what's gonna make people go look for this and go look for that, man. All right, even guys with cars, you know, you have the different lines and the curves inside of cars and things like that. Also with like, what is it, the cello? What is that? That big ass, it's almost like a violin. You know, you play the violin like this, but there's another one that sticks down on the ground. You put it in between your legs, and it's got the curves like a woman as well too. See, all these different things play on the psyche of your mind. So you have no idea that this shit is even there. You have no idea you're being brought into these things. Like even with the music, that boy Triple X Tentacion talking about the music with the different frequencies. He can get you to do all these different things. Oh, this is being taught by Esau, man. How to sit there and to bring you in. This is why they have commercials and advertisements to bring you into these things, man. All right, try this and try that. They know about discounts. You know, like I said, I used to work at a spot where they used to have a section half off, 30%. Everything in the store was always on sale, 30% off, 50% off, 80% off. But in reality, you know, this was a way to so-called ensnare the people, trap the people up, and bring the people in to start shopping with them. Everything was on sale in the store, yet nothing was on sale in the store. All they did was they just marked up everything that was in the store, let's say 80% up, just to have it on sale 80% off, 50% up to sell it for 50% off, right? So for instance, you would have polo t-shirts or polo shirts, right? You would have some polo shirts that would be in there that wasn't on discount, let's just so to say, and the selling price point was $20, $19.99. Then you have another set of polos that would be on sale half off. But the price of those would be $40, right? So half off of that is still $20. You still paying the same price for the same things. But guess what? The ones that was on sale was the ones selling a lot faster than the ones that wasn't on sale. But they sell the same shirt for the same price. But they know that they can get you into these things. So this is going into that cunning hunter, man. All right, how come people can't get up? How is he able to give out this here Babylonian juice and people buy into these things, man? All right, have all these different policies that people buy into, the elections and everything else like that. He knows how to hunt the minds of these here people and how to ensnare and how to entrap these people, man. This is part of his makeup, man. All right, let's go to Genesis 27 now. In fact, I'm gonna read this in the blue letter real quick, because this is something I want to bring out of here. Genesis. So we're gonna, let me see. We're gonna start at verse 38. All right, Genesis 27 to 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Now, first of all, we can go back a little bit. Esau sold his birthright, right? You know, he sold his blessing, and then he wanted it back at a different point in time. Esau does things like this all the time, where he'll so-called give you something and then come back and take it from you, man. All right, sell you a car, raise up the interest rates, come and repossess it, give you a house, come back and take all these things, and wind up making money off of these things, man. All right. It says 39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. All right. When you go into this here word for fatness, right? The fatness of the earth, it says the fatness, the fat piece, the fertile place, richly prepared food, right? Think about who has all the earth and all the resources of the earth, man. This is what, you know, the scriptures speak about Esau going into, he's a proud man and neither keepeth at home, all right, but gathers unto him all nations and all people. The reason he does these things is for what? To gather up the resources of the earth, the fatness of the earth, right? And, well, we hadn't gotten to it, but it's going to tell you that he was given a great sword. Part of that sword was what? His military, man. And this is what he would wind up doing, taking the resources, the fatness of the earth by way of the sword. It says fatness, fat pieces, you know, the best pieces. Also oil, olive oil, fatness, stout, vigorous, fertile spots or places. So he was given not only the fertile places for all the resources of the earth, he was also given the oil of the earth, man. And with the oil of the earth, we see how do I put it? How precious, more or less to say, the oil is on the earth. You own all the oil of the earth, because look at what Esau is doing now with the what you call it, the petrodollar, man. The way it's set up with the petrodollar, man, you can't buy oil, sell oil, transport oil, refine oil, do anything where there's a transaction with money and oil without having the American dollar. So Esau's hand is touching every drop of oil that there is on the face of the earth. With all this here oil on the face of the earth, then this is how you can sit there and you can move your militaries around the earth, man. This is how you can sit there and put how you say, factories in play. This is how you can sit there and get your civilization up and going. Run civilizations with what? Oil, man, petroleum, all the things that come from it, the byproducts and everything else like that, man. Esau was given all these things. Yeah, Ishmael dipped his feet in the oil. Yeah, he's got a little bit of it, but Esau's really got the fatness of it all, man. See, Esau got oil over here in America and everything else like that, but really, Ishmael got a lot more of it. You know what I'm saying? But Esau is the one that's eating the most off of all the damn oil, man. Even though he don't have all of the oil, he's reaping the most benefits off of all these things, man. And again, you got to ask yourself, this was a blessing of his. He was going to have the fatness of the earth, or the dew of the earth, or the oil of the earth, the resources of the earth. Ask yourself, what person on the face of the earth now has all the resources, hoarding all the resources to themselves, man? All right, it would be the so-called white man, man. The Edomites, man. This is what they go to war for, man. You want to try to change your currency off the petrol, or you want to try to change selling your oil from off the petrodollar, man. Esau go to war for that, man. You got some natural gas and some oil, something he can profit from in your country, like Ukraine them does. He go to war for that. Syria, he go to war for that, man. He want to take the fatness and the spoils of all the earth, man. But this was part of his blessing. This was the things that he was going to be given. So Esau was given what? The fatness of the earth, man. All right, now again, you go around, you look around and see who has all these things, man. All right, again, like I said, Ishmael was going to dip his toe into the oil, but Esau was going to have the fullness of it all, man. And how does he have these things? By way of what? His philosophies, his doctrines, the petrodollar, man. All right, and he can back these things up by way of what? His sword, man. So again, going into the spirit bearing witness with this here spirit man and trying to find out who these people are. Oh, well, the so-called white man ain't the Edomites, or the Edomites ain't, or the so-called white man is Japheth and everything. But wait a minute, we hearing about him having the fatness of the earth. Esau would have all the oil on the earth, man. He would have the dominion over the oil of the earth, man. Who has that, man? Now, again, you have a runner-up. You got Ishmael who got his toe dipped into it, and a lot of the oil come from over there. But guess what, man? Saudi Arabia decided they want to go do something else with their oil and everything else. It's about to be a war over there, man. Hell no, we got control over this here shit, man. All right, Saudi Arabia wasn't over top. See, Saudi Arabia was made rich by way of America and them putting that petrodollar system in place for them. They had to buy or take the oil into their money and everything else like that, man. All right, and prop them up, man. All right, and now they need a backing of some type of military, whether it be Russia or America, to sustain themselves. But hey, look at where they at right now, man. All right, this is Esau to a T. He would have these here blessings, man. All right, let's get back to that. Let's see what else he was blessed with. Genesis 27. Genesis 27:39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy fatness shall be, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and thou shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break the yoke off his neck. I meant to be reading this in the BLB because I wanted to look something else up too. But anyway, the scripture said he was going to live by a sword, right? Hang on. Right here, verse 40. All right, so when you go into that word sword, it says a sword, a knife. I gotta hurry up with this, but a sword, a knife, tools for cutting stone, right? Strong's definition. It says also a cutting instrument from its destructive effects. And look at what Esau has with his military, right? All of these things can be used for so-called, cutting stone and plowing and everything else. Like you can use dynamite to blast out the side of mountains and bore out mountains and everything else like that, man. Bombs and everything. But what does he use it for, man? He was gonna live by the sword, man. Not to create his. Now it would be one thing if he was using like, weapons for hunting, and weapons for building and things like that, man. But what does Esau use these things for, man? Esau uses these things for the fact of Esau uses these things to dominate all the people on the face of the earth, to put them into subjection, man. Who is known to have the most mightiest military on the face of the earth? The people will argue, oh, it's America, oh, it's Russia. Well, guess what? They both Edomites, man. All right? But this is who we talking about out here, man. All right? So and we can go in hours and hours and hours on them. I might have to make a part 2 or just do some lessons about this and run out of space. But nevertheless, you can sit here and look at what Esau was described to do in the scriptures and look on the face of the earth and see who actually fulfilled all those things. Or you can look at what the so-called white man has achieved on the face of the earth and look into the scriptures and see who was written about to do all these things, man. Or you can go read up on Japhet in the scriptures and look up all his lineage and everything else like that and search up all those people and see where they fit in any of the end-time prophecies or any prophecies that would change anything on the face of the earth. They're not that big of a player on the earth, man, to make a difference like this, man. All right, they're just a small, minute character that don't really have no role in the movie at all, man. They're just a nobody, man. All right, so hey, this is the controversy of who is the so-called white man and who is Esau and who is Jacob and all these different people. People are basing these things off of skin color. Well, we're telling you based off of what? Prophecy and actions. Who fulfilled these things, man? All right. Matter of fact, we'll probably close out with this, the Revelation, right? Because we were just reading about his blessing. But and like I said, we can go in all day long on these prophecies of what Esau would do, what he would do to his brother, man. He was just gonna have Genesis 27 and 41. He was gonna have a perpetual hatred for his brother, man. He was going to comfort himself in killing his brother Jacob, man. And then he get in Ezekiel 35:25, it's written about his punishment for what he would do to his brother Jacob, man. And then what we see what's going on out here nowadays, we got these people screaming Black Lives Matter because of what? The oppression that the so-called white man is putting on him, right? So we seeing all these things playing out, man. We see all these things fulfilling these here prophecies, but yet people want to still be ignorant, man. That's, again, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. Oh, we're not all white people the same. Not all white people. Hey, just like Jake, not all so-called Jakes or Israelites, all right, are going to come into the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, man. 2/3 of our people are going to be wicked. They're going to be the fuck up out of there, man. All right? Now, it could be the same way on the other side with the Edomites, man. 2/3 of the Edomites could be, quote-unquote, wicked to who they're supposed to be. And they could be so-called, quote-unquote, good Edomites, whereas 1/3 of them could actually be the elect. Like, nah, nigga, we fulfilling our spot by being the wicked, man. You know what I'm saying? But who knows, man? But nevertheless, like Muhammad Ali said, I said this in the video. He said, he was giving an analogy. He was like, yo, there's 10,000 snakes or 11,000 snakes, right? 10,000 of them is venomous and they can bite and kill you. 1,000 of them are non-venomous and they ain't gonna do no harm to you. Do you take your chances by going into the room with these 11,000 snakes, hoping that you're gonna only be surrounded by the 1,000 snakes that don't bite, or are you, or that the 10,000 snakes, you're gonna be in a room with the 10,000 snakes and they might bite you, or even out of the 10,000 snakes, maybe you might take a chance that none of those snakes, but one of them might bite you, but only take a bite from one of those snakes that'll put you down, man. All right, so hey, these Edomites, they're gonna keep coming, the lineage of their forefathers, man. They are, you are gonna be who your forefathers are, man. The spirit gonna keep bear witness that they're gonna keep doing the same old thing, just like in the movie The Matrix, man. If you're not plugged in, you got a vessel that can be inhabited by one of these damn agents, man. All right, as long as they got these damn Edomites around, they can keep doing the same ass thing over and over and over and over again, man. All right, but let's read this here real quick in Revelation 6. Revelation 6:4, it says, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given unto him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. So a power was given unto him, all right, and he was given a great sword to take peace from the earth. Now the scripture say that the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. Who is ruling the earth right now as we speak, right? You got the King Charles being coronated, right? They having the news about some of their commonwealths that they had in captivity, wanting to so-called break free from those things, man. You got like Canada, you got like the UK Virgin Islands and stuff like that. All of them is commonwealths of not the Queen of England, the King of England now, man. That's all they shit nowadays, man. They trying to break free of all these different things. But look, how did they get this possession of all these things? By what they call colonization, or they had a different term for it at that point in time. It was called in the beginning it was colonization, and they had a different term. Anyway, they were still colonized. This is a different term. Not colonialism. It was something after that. But it's all the same thing, man. Like you had the Crusades, colonization. What was it called when the English did it? But anyway, not imperialism. But anyway, they wound up taking everything over, man. All right, now you got it nowadays with Esau in America doing it, call it globalization, man. They have the same terms for them just taking over every damn body, man. But how does he wind up doing all these things? How does Esau globalize the whole planet Earth? By way of what? World War I, get a little bit of a tight control over the population. World War II, get a little bit more control over the population, and through certain wars, man. All right, fulfilling the rest of those prophecies, man. Living by the damn sword, man. All right. Revelation 6 and 4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. And so again, hey, who was given that technology, at the end of World War II? Who took the scientists to be able to create the nuclear bombs, man? Russia and America, man. The Edomites had all this power, and they got it from where? Germany, man. All right. Revelation 6 and 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat upon him was Death, and hell followed him, and power was given unto him over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. And so this is the same, same person we talking about here, man. All right, he was given power over the earth, putting rulership control. That was his blessing. He was gonna have the dominion over the whole earth, living by a sword and everything else like that, man. And this is what Esau was gonna be doing. I see you up there. But anyway, nevertheless, let me see. We might have to go handle some business, but nevertheless, we're about to get out of here anyway. But hey, man, this the damn devil we talking about, man. Taking peace from the earth, going disrupting things, disrupting how things was gonna be anyway, man. All right, but we're gonna go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, we say, call halal, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh, Shabbat, Hashem, Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostle and elders, the great millstone that taught us this truth and never will. And citation, much love for you. I can pursue this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring the afflictions, defeat and edify the elect. Shalom.